Okay, so this is my first tutorial ever, so I apologize if it's not up to par, but I'm going to try my best to explain this. One thing that I get asked a lot is how I'm anchoring my flow wand when I perform. And honestly, when I was learning, I didn't really find many resources out there on how to do this. A lot of it was just kind of trial and error and just watching videos and just guessing. But for the most part, I see most long string tutorials attached to the hand like you would a short string, and then just longer. And you can obviously do a lot of the movements that you want to with that, but shoulder anchoring does provide a little bit of a different flow because you can let both your hands go, and it looks really weird because people are like, wait, I thought it was attached to something. But so I decided to do a tutorial per many of the requests, so I'm going to try my best to explain how I anchor it, and I actually have some other tutorials planned as well. Just I figured it would be a good way to allow other people to expand their flow and find the flow wand and long string, because it's quite a beautiful thing. So first and foremost is the length of the string, and this can be quite intimidating going from a short string to a long string, because obviously with a short string it hangs just a tiny bit below your hand, and that's not too hard. But with the long string, I mean, you got it gets a lot longer. So personally, for me, I use a really long anchor. So I'll step back here so you can see. So I'm hooking it on my thumb right now, and I'm gonna just let it go my hand. So basically it's my wingspan from my thumb to my other thumb, and then about 6 inches hanging down. Whoops, I had it upside down. But this is the length that I personally like. You might find you like it a little bit shorter, a little bit longer. It's going to depend on you. So what I would suggest doing first is maybe just leaving it as long as the string comes, and tying it, but using like tape or something to just tape it like maybe lower or somewhere, so that you can try hooking it on you and seeing if that length works. I don't recommend tying it because this string does not untie once you tie it, so you would probably be better taping it, but you were obviously going to want to play. I have seen people do the shoulder anchor with a shorter string. It's just going to depend on what you want to do, so this is what I do. And once you figure out the length, in order to get into a shoulder anchor, it's kind of a weird thing. I like to put it on the ground, and first of all, make sure your string is not tangled at all. So I like to run my finger through it. And first, what I do is you're going to stick I'm going to anchor it on my left shoulder. So I'm going to stick my left arm in, and it's going to hook on my shoulder. So it's hooked right there, and then I have the string down. So once that's hooked on your shoulder and your arm's through, you're going to want to put it behind your neck. So now it is, and the string is still together. So it opens around your shoulder, and then it comes into one and goes right behind your neck. So right now, I'll see if you can see it. It's just hooked behind my neck like that around the shoulder. So that's that. So that's actually just the anchor itself. And you're like, okay, well, what do you do from there? So what you're going to want to do to continue to flow or to start moving with this is the easiest way to come into it is to do your hands in this kind of thing right here where they're stacked on top of each other and your thumbs are open. If you just hook the string through that and you can lift it up, that's kind of the basic of it. But to start moving it, there you go. You're going to want to pull your hands farther apart or together in any which way. So you can bring it closer, farther. That's what's going to control the length of the string. So once you get it like this, you can actually treat it like it's a short string. So, and honestly, I find it easy to help stabilize it if you just hook your middle finger, hook it around that, so it literally becomes a short string. So right here, there you go. There's your short string movement again. And it's just there, but if I want it to go longer, then I'll put my hands closer together, and you can spin with it, and you can go from really long to really short. So, and honestly, it's going to feel really awkward, because if you go when you start with a short string, you only really have to worry about one hand controlling the string, and the other hand just kind of makes it look pretty. But with this, your left hand is really involved, so you're going to have to understand kind of where to put your left hand, or, well, at least if you're going to do it in this way, where your left hand is not the one guiding it, your right hand is the one guiding it. Obviously, if you're left-handed and doing it the other way, then it's going to be the other hand. But you're going to have to get used to just controlling the string and the length of it with that hand. And that will take a little bit of getting used to, but the more you play with it, the better it'll feel and the more natural it will become. And honestly, I find that using your left hand to control the string really helps keep your left hand involved with the flow. A lot of people I've seen with the flow wand, they just kind of move with one hand and they forget the other hand, but building the illusion is a huge part of the flow wand. So you want to make sure that left hand or your other hand is engaged in this, so that's a really good way to do that. So, and one thing I am going to recommend that I'm honestly still working on is try to learn doing this with both hands. So I'm usually leading with my right hand and controlling with my left, but you can kind of balance out your flow if you learn how to play with both hands. So, and I honestly think that builds the illusion more too, just because people are going to start, when they watch, they're like, oh, it's obviously attached to this hand. Well, if you can do both hands, then it kind of keeps that illusion up and keeps people like, how are they doing that? So it's a good way to keep your flow balanced and just, honestly just practice that dexterity. So I totally recommend doing that. So that's the basics for shoulder anchoring. Some cool things you can do with shoulder anchoring, though, I will show you real quick, at least with my length of string, and this is what I prefer. So if you wrap it around like your neck once, obviously this kind of feels weird, so it's around your neck, right? You kind of feel like you're choking yourself, but it's not too bad. If you wrap it around your neck once, and then just do the finger where you stick it around your middle finger, you can actually treat it like a short string flow wand and play with it. So you can kind of switch between having the long string and having the short string. So I'll do that a lot as well, just to kind of mix it up. And then obviously you can go back to the long string whenever. But I think it adds a lot to your flow. So, there you go. So that's some tips and tricks with long string flow on and shoulder anchoring. I encourage you to play around, and it's currently stuck on my bra strap. I encourage you to play around with it and figure out what works for you, because what works for me may not be what works for you. It's an exploratory process, and each person is going to find their own flow. So I hope that this provides some starting point, though, because there really aren't that many resources out on YouTube or just in general on long string flow wand and shoulder anchoring. So I hope this is a good start. I do have some other tutorials planned, maybe just some basics on how to move with a flow wand, or some tips and tricks and some advice, just, to help people create a good platform to start from instead of just starting from having nothing, because it is a really big jump to go from a short string flow wand to a long string flow wand. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Please let me know if there's anything else I can help you with, if you need any more help, if something's not making sense, or, anything, just comment below or feel free to message me. I honestly would love to help you out. I am all about spreading the love and flow, so if there's anything I can do, just let me know. I'll try and have some more tutorials out here soon, maybe after I see what kind of reception I get from this one, but happy flowing. I hope you are able to at least understand and start with the long string flow on after watching this. So thank you and goodbye.